This meeting is being
And I'm going to mute everybody. Now, remember, when you're muted, you're welcome to unmute and ask a question at any time. I mute you because I know I'm hard to hear. So it's really just to help you. Now, this is the photo reference we'll be working from. What I like about this photo reference is when you put the rule of thirds on it, and you'll notice that the line, the wonderful crinkly line of that handmade vessel lines up really well with the first rule of thirds line. The second rule of thirds line goes through the pumpkins. So you can see them a little better that way. There's not really a clear focal point at the intersection of these rule of thirds lines. So it is up to us if we want to put one there. So we challenge accepted. We'll find a way to make a focal. Now, in terms of the color study, I'm going to simplify some of the color and introduce a pop color of blue. So there's some masses of hydrangeas on the side and some undefined liquid in a vase. Both of those are going to have some shots of blue. But we're going to introduce a little blue in this and make it more of an orange blue composition. So today we're going to start off with a subtractive and then sketch on top of the subtractive very lightly with a brush. So I'm going to move us over to the easel. Before we begin, the palette that we're using is the same palette. It's raw umber. We are going to be using a little bit of black tonight. You can use cerulean or ultramarine. Tonight I have cerulean. Alizarin crimson or cadmium red. I suggest cadmium red. Tonight I'm using cadmium red. It makes a better orange when you mix it with cadmium yellow medium and titanium white. So I'm going to give everyone a chance to set up their palette. It isn't crucial that you use the same brushes that I'm using, but just to give you an idea, I'm using 3 half-inch flats, a 1-inch flat, 2 liners, and the bright. So these brushes, and you can use any brushes that you feel comfortable with, filberts or any of them that you like. These just happen to be some of my go-to brushes that I have at the easel. I'm sticking to smaller brushes, meaning 1/2 inch, because I'm working on a smaller canvas. So I usually use the bigger brushes in general. So when everyone has their palette set up and their brushes ready, give me a thumbs up and then we'll start the subtractive process. Thanks, Lauren. A big shout out and welcome to Anne. Wonderful to see you. Thanks, Lynn. Lynn, I was meaning to ask you, did you get a freeze over where you were too? Make sure you unmute. I muted you, sorry. I should mute you.
There. I said we lost a few lettuce leaves, but we covered everything up.
Oh,
So
good.
we did
Good for
good. Yeah.
you.
Hmm.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah. My beautiful yellow wildflower garden, though, is all. Whoop. I was,
Hmm.
oh, should have thrown a tarp over that. I mean, they're natives plants. So I was like, well, whatever happens, happens. But now
They'll
I
come
miss
back.
that huge pop of yellow in the middle of the yard.
I hear you. Well, I'm glad it wasn't devastating.
Yeah, no, not at all. The pump, we didn't cover the pipes on the well pump. So we learned that little lesson. Even if it's only going to be 30, we need to cover it. Did you guys do okay?
Yes, I never thought to cover the pipes on the well pump.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And the tank too, especially because you're going to get some 20s up there. So yeah, my husband just ordered some things for the pipes online, and because they will burst. That happened to our daughter and son-in-law down in North Ocala.
Hmm.
So
Well, thanks for the heads up. I happen to have a roll of insulation and I have no idea what to do with. So maybe I'll
perfect.
up that pump or something.
Yeah, a free
No,
solution.
yeah, I had wrapped my trees and covered my uh, raised beds.
Hmm.
That,
Yeah.
that not that I needed to. They mostly had brassicas,
Hmm.
but everything is okay. Thanks, Diane. You know, the things I thought would die are dying, and the things I protected are okay.
Good, good, good.
Yay. I was worried about the baby pigs more than
I know, and
anything.
I was going to ask, I was going to ask about your animals too. So we've had.
Well, I was gifted some wool from a farmer friend. I traded her some eggs for wool, and I
Neat.
put all the wool inside the truck cap that doubles as the house for the pigs. And the
Hmm.
mama wallowed out an indentation in the ground. Our ground is sand, you know, it's all
Hmm.
sand. So she made this little pit and then put the wool in. And she's been nursing the babies in this wool lined pit. And it seems to be working very well for her. I covered their house with a tarp so there would
Hmm.
be no leaks and they're good to go.
Good, good. We've had
They're so
some.
darn cute.
Hmm. We've had baby cows all week. So we actually, one on Tuesday morning was just fresh. It was so awesome. It was so cute.
Poor little baby probably came out and said, "Wait, this isn't what I signed up for.
It's a little cold out here.
I was shooting for Florida.
Right. I'm a Florida cow.
How did I wind up in the Midwest?"
That's right.
Okay. Anne, did you get a chance to put your palette together? Okay, just want to make sure. Good. All right. So it looks like everyone is ready. So we're going to be starting a subtractive process in doing this still life. Oops, did I remove? Okay, let me make sure I have the easel spotlighted. There we go. All right, so I'm using acrylic tonight, so I'm not going to thin it. I'm using a large brush to apply it with, and I'm going to be kind of gloopy in my application. Gloopy is the technical term. Gloopy means I want to have a good dark coverage. So one thing I've noticed about raw umber in acrylic or in the brand I'm using, which is a Liquitex, is it tends to be a transparent color. So I'm going to go a little thicker. Now I can save a little paint. I'm not too concerned about those wedges. So I can save a little paint if I want and leave some space where those wedges will go. If you're using acrylic as well, you want to go through this part very quickly. So don't wait before you start erasing. So as soon as you have that paint down, get whatever cloth you're going to do. And I'm starting with the apples, so I'm going to place the apples roughly. By the way, if you want to put the rule of thirds in, paint really thick, use a ruler and mess up the paint, and that will help you see the rule of thirds. Of course, I probably shouldn't have used the ruler to actually measure that rule of thirds, but anyway, that gives me a rough idea. You can work your way around the still life, and if you choose to limit the objects or not include every little thing, that's fine. You don't have to put in every little thing. Try not to erase too much around the bowl. We want to keep the bowl as the last edge. I'm actually putting some paint back. If your paint starts to dry too quick, dip your uh, finger with the cloth on it in water or solvent, and that will help you lift off the paint more evenly. It's good to have the brown on the outside of the pumpkin wedge. Now I simplified it by ignoring some of the distracting elements in the background. Feel free to simplify as much as you wish. I'm also not putting any of those stems in right at this moment. All right, when you've reached a point where you've erased out the parts that need erasing out, give me a thumbs up. Thanks, Florence. Thanks, Diane. Thanks, Suzanne. Thanks, Anne. Thanks, Lynn. Okay, we're going to go methodically from dark to light. Now, we've put in a really beautiful dark for the background. I'm going to pull some of that dark into the foreground and make it a little darker. So I'm putting some black in with my umber, mixing the two together. I'm making like a very dark chocolate brown, and I'm going to use this dark color to assert the shape of those pumpkin wedges a little more. And to make sure that the bowl is very lost and that you don't see the bottom edge of that bowl. The edge that's curved and comes up against the apples is the found edge. So we want to focus our attention on that edge and let the rest of the bowl be lost. All right, now when you put some dark cast shadows under those pumpkin wedges, under the vase, bottom side of the bowl, then we're going to focus on some of the darks within the bowl. So there is an intersection where the apples meet and there's a cast shadow underneath them. I want to get that and make that really dark inside the bowl, which will help make the edge of that bowl pop. There's also a cast shadow right up against the apple. Now is your chance if you want to put the stem in place or the dark of the whole. Now, what's important here are the found edges of the dark part of the bowl against the wedges of the pumpkin. Also, the edge of the bowl against the apples against each other, so that one in front is a little lighter than the one behind it, and so forth. So pay attention to those found edges. The lost edges are everything inside the vase, the cast shadows on the bottom, and the bottom of the bowl. All right, looks like everybody's caught up. If you need another minute, wait. Okay. So the first color we're going to use is red, and I'm getting a little bit of red on the tip of the brush. I'm using one of the flats, and I'm going to pull the red from the outer edge of the one apple towards the center. I'm putting just a couple of touches of it. And periodically, I'm going to put some of the umber in with that red to darken it and flatten it. Make your brush follow the shape of the apple so you're actually caressing the surface of it like you're sculpting it out of paint. Okay, and then for the center of that apple, there's a pressed shadow towards the middle, which is more of a bruised color. So I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to that red, and then making an orange. And then I'm going to put some of the umber in with the orange and create like a bruised effect. So the outer part, and if you're using oil, you probably won't need to add any umber to get that dark. You probably have enough left from your underpainting. If you're using acrylic, it's already dried. So just to go over that mixture again, I made an orange and then put a little umber in it. And that's giving me this warm, shadowy crest shadow color on the apple. All right, I'm going to put a little yellow in with this mixture, and this is going to make a uh, hmm, an ochre looking color. It's a brownish color. It's a neutral. This neutral is the shadow color on the patty pan squash. So I'm going to block in that neutral color just in the shadowy areas. Again, if you're using oil, you don't need to mix any umber in with it. If you're using acrylic, you definitely do. Now, a lot of us rely too much on pre-mixed colors. And when we go to the paint store, we spend a lot of money buying colors that are mixed, and they're almost never exactly the right color. Try to get in the habit of mixing all of your browns and ochres and umbers and the colors that um, you would normally buy, greens especially. Get in the habit of mixing them, because you once you learn how to mix different greens, you'll come up with some much better concoctions and colors that have some real life and energy to them that you wouldn't find out of the tube. All right. Now moving to the next apple, I'm going to put a little yellow and umber into that same mixture and give it a green hue. And this is the green crest shadow you see on that apple between the patty pan and the other apple.
Sean, you added yellow and umber into what?
The same mixture that I just made for the patty pan.
Really? And you got
Yeah,
green.
yeah.
Okay.
So if you're not getting green, then try
Mm-hmm.
it another way. Start off
Mm-hmm.
with yellow and a little umber. Two
Ooh.
together should give you a form of green, and then test it on your
Mm-hmm.
reference photo, adjusting accordingly until you come up with something that's a reasonable facsimile for that value. What's
Mm-hmm.
important is that it's a 4 value. Make sure it
It is
starts.
kind of greenish.
You
Okay.
may need more umber to it to make it ultra green. I know it seems like a roundabout way to get to green, but there are many.
I stumbled upon black and yellow makes this really cool green.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That
it
is
does.
really cool.
It's
And then you
kind of
start messing with like throwing different levels of the each color into it to make it darker or lighter, and then throw white in it. It's kind of cool.
nice.
I stumbled, totally stumbled. Act of genius on by accident.
There you go. All right. And then I'm going to put a little more yellow in with that mixture, and maybe a touch of red. And this gives me a warm neutral for on the apple all the way left. All right, so at this point, you have the 4 value on the apples. Now we're going to put the 4 value on the pumpkin. So you've had some fun time mixing some beautiful neutrals there. I'm going to go back to a bigger brush with pumpkin. I'm going to start off by making an orange with the yellow. touch of red. You don't need as much red as you're using yellow because, as you know, it doesn't have near the tinting capacity. Well, once I get an orange that's a good, reasonable facsimile, you pull a little bit down below and put some of the umber in with it. The umber neutralizes it, darkens it, knocks it down a peg. It also greens it, so be careful. With that umber, this is more of the 4 value. Not quite right. Add a little more red to it. Test it on your reference photo before you put it on your painting. Always put a little dot, give it a try, trying to mix that shadowy color. That's close. I like that color. So go right on top of the mistake one.
Sean, can you show us your easel again?
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize that it popped out. Thank you for letting me know.
Thank you.
All right. So just so you know, I mixed the orange and then put a little bit of the umber to make about a 4 value in the orange. You may need to add more red to your orange to get it warmer. We want a warm 4. So the color I'm putting down is closer to a red, I think, than an orange. Okay, so that brings us to our next batch of lost and found edges on the pumpkin. So the found edges are the sharp edges of the pumpkin up against the dark background. But the lost edge is the lighter edge between the wedges of pumpkin. Add a little more yellow into your mixture for that and create some light right between those wedges. So the lighter part on the pumpkin wedges are at the tips where they're thinnest, and it's yellow-orange here, yellow-orange. Right next to it is the darker part, so you want to get the tip, especially the one in the front, lighter, and then immediately let it be darker. All right, and then the very edge, the cut edge of the pumpkin should be a highlight, should be lightest. Now the thin rind on those pumpkin, the pumpkin skin, I'm just mixing a little more of the umber in with the yellow mixture and making a thin line. Shouldn't be that obvious or clear, just enough to create a boundary between the two pieces. Okay, so that'll give us most of the fours and maybe even the little threes on the pumpkin wedges. We're not doing the seeds just yet, so don't get caught up in details. Remember, you're just blocking in the big shapes of the wedges. All right, I promised you some blue. So I'm going to put a little blue first in the big vase off to the side. I'm taking just a little bit of blue here. I have some umber still on my brush. If you're using oil, the umber that's on the canvas will still be wet. I'm going to go right on top of my underpainting. Give it a blue tinge. Then I'm going to add a little bit of white to the same paint mixture, a little white, and lighten the bottom edge of the vessel, especially where it comes right up against the pumpkin. You don't need a whole lot of paint for this. And then feather it out and blend it. All right, same thing for the hydrangeas. I'm using the same blue. Oops, I got some yellow in it. Hold on. Take a little blue off to the side. Add just a touch of the umber, a little bit of white. Right now on the hydrangeas, don't paint hydrangeas. Clump together little brush strokes, maybe 3 brush strokes together, shape in a flower head, and that's enough. And then ever so often, add a little more umber as you go lower in the composition. That will make them look a little more shadowy. Be careful, don't let them become a pattern. Don't make them too perfect. Remember just to clump your brush strokes together and it will read like hydrangeas. A last touch, connect with a few stems. All right, last touch. This is still with the blue. I'm going to put a little bit on the tablecloth. I just noticed I have some canvas there. That will tie it all together. All right, this is about the midpoint. We've gone from our 5s to our 4s, and now we're at about the 3s. So this is a good point to check in. When you reach the point where you have your hydrangeas in, let's take a look. We've covered every bit of canvas with color. So we're ready for mid-class. Diane, you look ready. Would you like to show yours first? No, not yet. Okay. I saw you goofing off, so I was just checking.
Okay, I'm kind of ready now.
Okay, let's take a look. Ooh, oh, Diane, you have such a nice glow in this painting.
Hmm.
Very nice glow. Okay, don't
Good.
see any big problems. Be careful with the shape of that base.
Okay. Yeah, I made it kind of big.
Don't let it become the diva or take over.
Hmm.
Hydrangeas look nice.
Is it in front of the It looks like it's behind the pumpkins,
I think it is. It is behind the pumpkins.
but I made
All right.
mine longer, so I think I'll leave it in front.
Yeah, I put mine in front too,
Yeah.
mostly by accident.
Mm.
Yeah, that's good. Let's stick with it. That'll be our story.
Okay.
Good job, my friend. I wanted to tell you, Diane, on your hydrangeas, you may want to put some background, dark background to separate the masses, like sky holes, but with dark. Yeah, right in there. That's it. Okay, good job. All right. Whenever you're ready, give me a little wave. Lauren, don't forget to unmute.
Okay.
Hey,
Ooh,
oh, Florence.
yeah,
Wow.
it looks brighter when I look at it myself, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, the
I
red.
love how it's coming out. It is really coming out beautiful. So far, so good. Okay, you may want to break up those hydrangeas with a little bit of the dark background color. Not
Okay,
much, just a touch.
look at this. This pen. I'm kind of like really using a lot of different brushes. Oh my God.
Well, you're getting reacquainted with your new best friend there.
I think I'm being in a race here. You know, I was just in the Azores only for 3 days, but you wouldn't believe it. All the roads are just lined with huge hydrangeas. The whole island. It's wild there, no? And you have these huge, and when you go down the road, you drive up the mountains, the road, you've got all these blue and white, beautiful hydrangeas.
Oh, that sounds
Like
gorgeous.
hedges. It's like a hedge there, really high hedges, all in here. It's beautiful. I mean,
How
really,
lovely.
the Azores is really something special.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I have
All right.
friends here that left America because of Trump. They're 75 and 78, and now they're living in Portugal in the Azores since August.
Mm,
And it's cheap to live in the Azores, much cheaper than in the States, no? Lots
that's
of
amazing.
farming and cows. They even have tea plantations. It's so green. It's only 5 hours from New York to fly there. It's worth as a visit, maybe someday. I just wanted to visit them so they know that, you know, they're still my friends, even if they emigrated. I want, you know, but
Mhm.
yeah, it was very interesting to see that. I mean, I knew,
Thank you, Florence. I'm going to have to move on to somebody else. Excuse
yeah,
me
of
one
course,
second.
yeah, of course.
All right. Suzanne, you look like you were ready. Hey.
I was trying really hard to ignore you.
How's it going?
It's going.
Suzanne, it's going beautiful. Lift it up a little.
I
I
can't,
love those
I don't see
pumpkin
myself in
wedges.
there. I see you. So,
Okay, let me make sure you're in the spotlight then.
okay. Thank
I
you.
really love your pumpkin wedges. Is this what you spent the least amount of time on, the pumpkin?
Uh, no, I think I've been just going as fast as I can to keep up with you.
Okay. Well,
Maybe speed.
I love the pumpkin. There's a freshness, assuredness with the brush that works really well. On the apples, be careful about putting those light highlights towards the center. Notice the apples are really dark towards the center. They're lighter on top. So be very conscious of the form on those apples. Okay.
Okay.
We're moving to the lights now, so you have a chance to fix that.
Okay.
Make sure you don't have any lights towards the center. That's
I
it.
know this
Everything
looks
else
very
is good.
flat.
It does.
That was probably my fastest. I was really just trying to catch up with you. But you were on the hydrangea when I didn't even know that you had done the vase, so I was like cruising on that.
So the base, I would go back in with some of the background color and darken towards the center. You really want it to be a translucent vessel there. You don't want it to be too bright or taking over. I would also soften the shape of it on the side so that it wasn't such a clear, hard edge. Notice in the reference photo, it's not as pronounced. You can see the edge, but the edge isn't a hard edge. It's a lot softer. It's not near as hard as the bowl, for example. So soften that a little. We don't want
Okay.
to upstage that diva.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. All right, who else is ready? Oops. Get rid of this one. Okay. Lynn, you're going to have to unmute if you talk to me.
All right, the struggle is real. I don't know why I'm so far behind on this painting tonight.
Are you?
I'm way behind, Suzanne. Probably overthinking everything, but here's what we got so far.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. So I don't think you're far behind.
Okay.
On the apples, you only should have done the dark values. So I think you're right on the money with those.
Okay.
The same for the pumpkin, only the dark values.
Okay.
Be careful with the shape of that vessel, the vase.
Mhm. Yeah.
Don't let it overtake some of the other shapes. You may want to come back in with the dark color of the bowl and work
Okay.
around it and beat it into submission.
Don't break
I
the
would
glass.
also use some of that background color to break up the hydrangeas.
Okay.
Just some, like you would put sky holes in a tree,
Mhm.
put dark background in between those flowers.
Okay.
Okay, that's it.
All right then.
I'll give you some time to do all that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Ann.
Hi, Di. Just saying hi. So happy you're in class.
That's so cool that you two are friends across the country like that. I just love that. Oh, okay. So, Ann, right now, I really love how the pumpkin has become the diva here and is so front and center. You might want to thin the bottom edge on the pumpkin and make it a little less coming straight at you so that you can see where the pumpkin connects to the table and the cast shadow underneath it. The
It,
base is perfect.
it,
Everything
you
else is
know,
fine.
was put in it just kept growing and growing. So
I know that feeling. Everything else is awesome. Good job with this so far.
I did something weird though. I inverted, but it was too late. I inverted the green from the red apple. The one should have been behind the other, but it was too late, so I just
Oh,
went
I
with it.
didn't even notice that. That's so funny. I didn't notice until you pointed it out.
It was
Well, you went with it and you made me believe it. So perfect.
awesome.
Yeah, good job. All right, lovely people. Let's take a few minutes to make those changes and then we'll move to the 3 values and the 2s.
Hey, Sean.
Hey,
I'm having trouble with my pumpkin and the vase. They almost look like they're on the same plane.
mhm.
Let's see. I can't see myself, so let me, there, okay. It looks like the vase needs to be shorter here and the pumpkin a little bit in front of it.
Okay, so you may want to reassert the edge of the pumpkin and have it overlap and push
Yeah.
the bottom of the vase so that it isn't at the same level as the bottom of the wedge.
Yeah, yeah, because it just doesn't look right. Okay, I'm going to try that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. We're going to move back to putting in our three values. I've been trying to remove the glare on my painting and I'm not able to do that. So bear with me. As it dries, it'll be less glary. All right. I am moving to a round brush. And I'm going to start back on the apples. The 3 is the local color. So I want to put the color that isn't a highlight. And I'm starting off with the patty pan squash. There's a lot of yellow in that patty pan squash. So I'm going to start off with some pure yellow first. And put a little bit of red in that yellow just to orange it up. Give it some body. While I have this yellow orange on my brush, I'm gonna bring it over to the apple and put a little light. Right above where that fresh shadow, that 4 value is. And then lastly, a little bit on the apple on the very left. All right, and then when you're done with that yellowish color, so that's like a yellow orange. That's more of a 3 value or a 2 value. So we're moving up towards the light. I'm going to turn it into a yellow green for the apple that's behind the red apple. I'm putting just the smallest amount possible of blue in it, mixing it quite a bit to get that greenish hue. When I apply, I'm going to make my brush start where the stem is and pull it up and around on this apple, and that will help give it the shape. Always try to follow the form with your brush. And then for the last apple, all the way to the left, I'm putting a little white in with that mixture, a little more yellow too, making it lighter, yellower. And I'm going to paint just the top edge of that apple. This is actually more of a highlight on that apple, but there isn't a local color that it isn't in light or dark, so close enough. It is tempting to go and put the highlights on all of the apples at this time, but we're not going to do that. We're going to be methodical and drop down to the pumpkins after this. So when you're finished putting the yellow on that apple, then we'll move down below. Okay, one more minute. We're moving down to the pumpkin. All right, so with the pumpkin, I'm starting off with some fresh orange, mixing yellow, cadmium yellow medium with some cadmium red medium. And I have a reasonable facsimile. I'm going to go back over, make sure I have a 3 value, that it's light on the ends and on the cut part of the wedge. In the center where the seeds are, I'm putting just some orange, and we'll come back in and put those seeds in a minute. Right now, we want to have something for the seeds to be nestled in. Notice you don't see individual seeds, you see seed masses. So we're putting some of the orange around where those seeds will go. Don't lose your darks in the seed masses where the seeds are going to go. There's a couple of really intensely dark places, shadowy shapes underneath those seeds. So if you've lost them, which I noticed I had, go back and add them with some umber. Okay. Now you still have orange on your paintbrush. Use that orange just to lip the edge of the bowl. You want to have some of that reddish orange that we used on the inside of the pumpkin for the edge of the bowl. We'll be highlighting this later. This is just a color coming into the bowl. Okay, now for the seeds, I'm not going to use white. I'm using a yellowish white. It's the same yellowish white I put up in the apples before. I still have it on my brush, and I'm going to use it to shape a few of those seeds. I don't want them to be too much of a highlight. I'm also letting the shape of the brush be the shape of the seed. For some of the strands, the fibrous strands on the pumpkin, I'm going to switch to a thin liner brush using the same light colored paint. I'll make this some very fibrous looking strands and marks. Now, you don't want those seeds to become too much of a pattern or look too, too much the same. So break them up, keep them looking very organic, and have the fibrous strands obscuring some of them and creating some visual texture. We'll be using the same brush to put the highlights in a minute, so keep it handy. All right, and then when you're done with some of those fibrous strands, use that brush to create a yellow white highlight where the light is hitting the pumpkin. Try not to use pure white. Pure white's going to be a little too bright, and we'll be using it on the apples later. Instead, use yellow. All right, one more minute. We're going to move to the highlights on the apples. So finish up. While you have that liner in your hand or a thin brush that makes lines, use it for some of the highlights on the glass. And we should go ahead and put highlight on the bowl. Well, before we go to the apples, put a little touch of light on the bowl. Now, not everywhere and not with the same thickness. All right. Let's move to the highlights on the apples and the things in the bowls. For this, I'm going to move to pure white paint as well. So I'm getting a little bit of pure white, thinning it down with some water. I'm going to start with the patty pan squash with the pure white on the outer part of the loaf. Three little spots. Moving to the greenish yellow apple, thinning down the highlight. I'm going to start at the center where the stem is coming out, the stem hole, and I'm making the highlight follow the curve of that apple. And that helps to reassert the form. The red apple in the center, I'm mixing up some pink, so I put a little bit of red in with the white. It's still a very light highlight, but it's a warmer, redder highlight. And I'm following the shape of the apple. You may need to thin the paint. And make my strokes go towards the center where the stem hole is.
Sean, I have to leave for a few minutes.
Okay, we're
Okay.
just wrapping up.
I know my husband is Santa Claus and he's just coming home and I got to make him dinner. So hopefully I'll be back in like 10 minutes. So,
Right.
Okay.
All right, lovely people. So make your highlight. Follow the shape of the apple. Start at the center, pull it out towards the outer edge. Keeping in mind that the highlight should not extend too far down the form. It should go towards the middle. You have a strong press shadow, so leave that in place. When you're finished with the highlights, then you can go back and add any stems or small details to the apples. The stems I'm using umber for. All right. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. I'm not going to do much else with this tonight. All right. When you reach the point where you're done with your story and you're sticking to it too, let's take a look.
Hey, Sean.
Hey,
I'm not done. I missed the highlighting of the apples and the plate, but that's it so far.
let's take a look. Um, wow, I really like your pumpkin wedges and the highlights you put on your pumpkin wedges. It
Mm-hmm.
created some nice lost and found edges. So the one wedge really looks like it's in front of the others. I also like how the hydrangeas got pushed to the back.
Oh, okay.
They,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they work well too.
Mm-hmm.
On your highlights on your apples, just make sure you concentrate them towards the top. Don't let them
Mm-hmm.
get down on the sides, and you're good to go with it.
Okay.
Wouldn't do anything else,
Good.
my friend.
I'm just going to show you a picture of Santa Claus, and then
Good. And
this is this is
oh God,
him.
He is so darn cute.
I
Oh,
know.
please give him a hug and tell him I have really been a good girl this year.
Okay, I'll tell him that.
Okay, so he's
I'm going to keep
adorable.
listening while I'm cooking. So,
Okay, my friend. All right, Suzanne. Hey, there we go.
I act like I don't know how to use a computer.
You're
Uh,
IT. Of course
yeah.
you do. Um, I love the lost edges in this, especially on the bowl. And your wedges of pumpkin read very lifelike. The tops of the apples, they need a little bit more. So not highlight, but show me that there is a shadow where, okay, so the light is coming from a certain direction, and there's a shadow being cast by the stem inside the well of the apple.
Mhm.
Show me that so that I can see that that's actually a curved shape, like a donut. You remember the donut shape we did before where the light was hitting one side and then down in front of the other on the squash? Well, at any rate, pay attention to the light logic here. So the highlight is going to be hitting the top of the curve of the apple,
Uh-huh.
and then the curve where it goes into the stem on the bottom. Do you see that on the yellow green apple?
No,
Okay,
I s-
let me show you on the camera because it it's really hard to try to explain this and have it make sense in English. So on the apple right here,
mhm.
light's hitting here. You can see there's a strong highlight. It's also hitting here because this is the same plane, but this is a curved surface. It's curved and it's going down into that dark shape.
Uh-huh.
So you have a dark shape, but you're not breaking it up or showing that the light is curving down into it. Also, I want to see how it curves from dark to light on the top. Does that make more sense now?
Yes, I just don't know how to do that.
Okay. So on the top, you have your highlight, you have your dark. You need something in between those right here. So not quite that dark and not quite that light. So make a middle value in here. On this side, you have the dark, the hard edge of the dark, the hard edge of the light. On this side, make your highlight curve down so that it's following the shape of the apple and curve into the light as well. You might want to warm up that dark shape with a little bit of reddish brown, and that'll help give you the curvature on that side of the apple.
Okay, so you're using the brush. You're going to take the brush as if you're taking a brush over an actual apple.
Yes, exactly. Follow
Okay.
the shape of it with your brush
Okay.
always, and that'll help create the shape on the canvas too.
Okay. So then can I ask you about the red apple in front?
Hmm.
Is the i- is the part that's looking right at me, how would you paint that with a brush? Is it is it horizontal? I mean, because it's kind of hard to like draw a loop.
Hmm.
I mean, the
With
sides are
that,
kind of easy, but the front is really, how do you do?
this is how I did it. But it wound up being a very flat shape
It
on
is rather
on my
flat looking
painting.
on that app on
Mhm.
that front apple. Uh,
Yeah, so
okay.
it's not as crucial. Where it's more crucial is on the curvature. the curving spots, especially that red, the dark red towards the top of that red apple. That's a crucial shape, and you would make your brush follow that curvature.
Okay.
Pull it in.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Well, my pleasure. All righty. Anyone else ready? Florence, make sure you unmute.
Hey, this time.
Hey.
Ooh.
Ooh. Okay, so Florence, you have some Cézanne-esque apples. Like I see the highlights, I see the middle values. They're really interesting shapes. They're semi-abstract. The pumpkin wedges, I like the intense color. Be careful about treating the seeds as a pattern and having them all the same size and shape. I
Yeah.
mean, what you created, it works together. But if you want to go more towards the realism and less of the abstract, then you want to vary the size and the shape a little more, so they're not so much of a pattern.
Okay.
Your vase is perfect. You got it back in line behind the pumpkin. Hydrangeas look good too.
Okay. Well, and under the apples, can you tell that that's a vase or a bowl?
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can. Yeah. And you don't really need that much information. You have the lip of it, you have the fact that it's containing objects, but ask other people too, or notice some of your colleagues in the same class. Notice how little information it takes for your brain to create that closure.
How would you get the seeds more individual? Should I draw around every seed?
No,
No.
quite the opposite. So instead, let me show you on the easel, the
Okay.
spotlight. All right, instead, notice how the seeds are in a pattern, and we do know that there are patterns in nature, but
Yeah.
the way these seeds present here, they're a little more chaotic. Now, we don't want to get into a habit of drawing every single one. So instead, we'll make some of them darker. Some we're seeing the side, and there's a dark. Some we're seeing half dark, half light, and some are just light,
Oh,
and they're
okay.
lined up and touching each other.
Oh,
So having a few variations like that will make all the difference in the world.
so do I have to use black, or what do I do?
Well, I didn't use any black when I did it. So what
No.
I did is also semi-abstract. It isn't real clear, but I do have some dark underneath and some seed shapes. So I'm just giving the impression. I'm not really spelling it out. It wasn't that important to me. I wanted the apples to be more of the attention
Yeah.
grabber. But, if you wanted the seeds to be more noticeable, you could spell out one or two
Yeah.
and let the others just give the impression. You don't have to put that much detail.
Okay. I'll just kind of brush around through them and try to get them softer edges. Okay.
Okay, or chalk it up to experience too. I mean, you've got a nice painting.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
My problem is that I have really difficulties going back to a painting. For me, like I'll work on it maybe another half an hour, but to work on it again tomorrow, I don't think so.
Mhm. Yes, I get that, and I feel that way too. And if I do go back to a painting, it's usually just to tweak something,
Okay.
one thing, maybe two things at the most, and that's it. I try not to spend too much time.
Yeah. I'm kind of like a one session girl.
That's fine. That's fine. You're an alla prima painter.
Okay.
Right. Who else is ready? Jump in there, Lynn. Let's
All
take a look.
right. I don't feel very done, but we're getting there. I'm really, oops.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I don't feel super done, but we're getting there. And I'm
Lynn,
embarrassed with my
look,
patty pan. What? I'm sorry.
look in the computer at this
Mhm.
painting. Look
It
at
kind of,
how beautiful that is. Now, promise me that you're not going to overwork this painting because
yes,
it's
ma'am.
very fresh, very impressionistic, and you have something here. You know, if you go back in and fiddle with this too much, it's going to lose that freshness. There's a
Ah,
lot to be said for the way you handled the paint in this painting. All right. My vote is don't touch a thing. Leave it alone.
really?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Drop
wow.
those brushes and back slowly away. And if anyone else has something to say about her painting, jump in. Feel free. I love it the way it is. There is nothing wrong with having some design or abstract elements, you know,
Mhm.
to realism too. I think it enhances it,
Okay,
really enhances it. Beautiful.
thank you.
It's very expressive, and the seeds are so real.
I
Really?
know. That was a nice way to handle the seeds. It really was. We were just talking about that too. Very nice. All right. Oop, I think we just lost Lynn. So, Ian, are you ready for your 15 seconds of fame?
Yeah. Okay. I went back and I redrew the
Yes.
because the proportion was so off and it was coming off. Anyway, I went back. I look forward tomorrow morning to having coffee with this.
Hmm.
But at least they're on the table now.
Hmm.
The two different
Yes,
are
the
just
proportion is way better. Love it. I would go with something darker underneath the wedges of pumpkin.
gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Cast shadows, especially where they connect to the table.
Yeah, you're right.
Ooh,
I was drawing. Yeah. Okay.
this will be a lovely piece when you're finished. You're almost there.
Yeah. It was fun. I'm learning a lot.
Good. I hope so. Nicely done, my friend. All right. I think I got all of you. Did I miss anybody? Okay, Lynn just dialed back in. Hey, Lynn, was it something I said? Hold it. Unmute before you talk.
No, poor power management on my part.
Just making sure. You missed Anne's beautiful painting, but
Oh,
that's
did you
it.
pop off?
Um,
Oh, well. Okay.
so we are finished with this one. Oh, did you finish your seeds, Florence? That's much better. Yes. Lift it up a little so everyone can see. Much better. All right. So I'm going to be sending you a fun still life that is for homework, and it's a candlelit still life that is a harvest theme, which I hope you'll get a kick out of. I've painted it a few times. I actually set it up and painted it. So I'll be interested to see what you come up with. Next week, we're going to be doing a very classic still life. This is our one from art history. I believe it is a David LaFell. painting. It's going to be a little more involved. I'll be sending you some instructions. I highly recommend that you pre-sketch your canvas on this one. Pre-sketch your canvas because it's going to take us quite a while just to get the shapes in place. All right. As always, my great pleasure and honor to work with you. Thank you for dialing in, and everyone have a terrific week.
Thanks, Sean. You
Thanks,
too.
Sean.
Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Hi, I'm gonna call
Good
you
night.